Although the All Progressives Grand Alliance, Apga, has dismissed the recent defection of Dr. Okeke, Deputy Governor of Anambra State, to the All Progressives Congress as a non-issue, Apga must be quietly wondering if more could have been done to keep him within the party's fold. With the forthcoming governorship election barely 10 days away, whatever electoral value Okeke might have had will now be to the advantage of the APC, which has been trying to get a foothold in the southeastern state for a decade. Add to this the security threat posed by purported members of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra. Apga, which has held sway in the state for 15 years, is certain to be concerned about the voter turnout on election day. To discuss the forthcoming Anambra governorship election and security concerns, and how the defection of the deputy governor could impact the chances of Professor Charles Chukwuma Soludo, the Apga candidate. We're now being joined from Okeke by Sidon Adinuba. Sidon, as is popularly called, is a veteran newspaper columnist and the Commissioner for Information and Public Enlightenment in Anambra State. Sidon, good morning. Good to have you on the morning show.
Good morning, Ruben.
Sidon. Anyway, how are you?
It's so wonderful to reconnect with you after quite a number of months.
Always a pleasure. Well, very quickly, what's the situation in Anambra? There's a lot of anxiety about the elections scheduled for November 6th. With the election hold, as promised by INEC and the security agencies, what's the security situation there? And do you think that with the anxiety that has been expressed, even by the candidates themselves, with some of them coming to campaign in Lagos and going to Asaba or Abuja to campaign, what are your expectations and do you have any anxiety?
Well, you're watching me. Do I look like somebody who is anxious? We are confident and very confident of victory. That is not in dispute. The question is, how many wars are we going to win? Are we going to win all 329 wars in Anambra State? Professor Charles Soludo is working towards winning all of them. So what matters right now is the question of the margin of victory. You and I know very well that the other party is actually not very serious. When somebody goes to Lagos or Abuja or even Delta to campaign, he's not serious. Soludo is the person campaigning in all 21 local government areas, and he goes to two of them every day. When the other people suspended public rallies, the reason they gave was the security situation in the state. But you and I did not take them seriously. Charles Soludo was attacked on March 31st in his hometown of Isofia. He lost 3 policemen, yet he goes about campaigning all over the place. We lost the chairman of Apga in Uruagunewi, and Apga cannot give in to intimidation, to blackmail. No, we are campaigning everywhere. Others decided to go outside the states. They are not serious. Even APC, which is in control of the armed forces and other security agencies, they are afraid of the people of Anambra State and they're taken to the hills. They are very funny. And not only do we campaign, every rally has recorded a massive turnout. On Saturday, September 15th, when we had our flag off, that recorded the biggest turnout in the history of Anambra State. And not just in terms of numbers, we saw an energetic people, committed, passionate, and they love what they are doing. We have the election. If we want the election to hold today, we are ready. The others are not ready.
And yes.
About security.
No, go ahead.
Yes.
I thought
we are doing everything possible. Okay. Let me get to your question.
Well, you've just talked about how you're not anxious. You certainly don't look anxious. You look supremely confident. And yet there are reports about a faction within Apga who is doing everything they can to sink your efforts, the Chukwuma Umeoji faction. What's your comment on that, working against the party?
Well, INEC is the regulator of all political parties. INEC says there is no faction in Apga. The Supreme Court says there is no faction in Apga. So, where are the factions? The young man you just mentioned, I'm sorry to say this, I've never met him. Should he and I meet right now, I cannot recognize him. So his existence basically is on the social media, not even the serious media. Has Arise actually given so much attention to him? Have you ever invited him to appear on your program the way you have invited me?
No.
No. His existence as a politician, as a political force, is questionable.
But are the issues that he's raising
He
also
won
questionable?
Yeah.
Him and his supporters, the issues that they're raising, complaints about how there's a cabal running the party, they feel marginalized within their own party. Are those irrelevant issues?
Well, Apga is the only political party that held its primary election before television networks, including Arise. You covered it alive. This was on 23rd June 2021. So free, so fair, and so transparent. And our candidate won by almost 94% of the over some 900 votes cast. Everything was done in the open. So when somebody talks about cabal, I must confess to you that this is the very first time ever I've had the word cabal associated with Apga. No.
Right. I like your confidence, but really, should you be confident? Another voter has taken, I think, 4 candidates now to court and saying they should be disqualified. There's that case in court. Your candidate only just got clearance by the Supreme Court to be on the ballot about last 2 weeks. There is insecurity problem. A lot of people are not even sure if people are going to turn out, for the election. They've just changed the police, the AIG in that area and police officers in that area just to be able to make peace reign. So this your confidence. I don't know. What do you see that I don't see out of Anambra? Tell me.
No, I don't want you to give in to the hysteria created by the social media. I am a journalist and I've done journalism all my life.
Would you say the death of Dr.
Yes.
Akunyili was hysteria created by social media? Would you say the gruesome murder of the husband of Dr.
personally
Dora
touched.
was
Yes.
hysteria created by social media?
No, nothing to do with politics. I feel personally touched by the death of Dr. Chike Akunyili. He and I were together up to 4:30 p.m. on the day he was killed. We sat on the same table. After he spoke at the event, the Commissioner for Health Anambra spoke, and I spoke. He was so moved by my remarks on his late wife that when I finished speaking, he walked up to me and we shook hands and he expressed wonderful sentiments about my presentation. He finished eating and I ordered food. Actually, they were wasting time in serving me, and I decided to walk him to his car together with Samuel Huabonwa, the national president of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. Somewhere along that line, I decided to go with him, but I felt hungry, so I came back. So you can imagine how devastated I was when I had the news. A few hours later, they had been killed in the most brutal manner. So I will keep on praying for the repose of his soul. He and his wife were great friends of mine, and even his only son, who is in Nigeria today, is a good friend of mine. I feel very passionate about their condolences. Having said that, his killing was cowardly, and it cannot stop Apga from moving ahead. The greatest tribute you can pay to the memory of Chike Akunyili and Dora Akunyili, who ran for the Senate on the Apga platform. is to continue to work for the common good, not to give in to intimidation, not to give in to violence. Professor Dora Akonyele was somebody everybody in this country knew for her courage. She had the courage of her convictions, took on vested interests, whether in business or in politics, with so much energy and fervor. And on each occasion, she emerged victorious. She was a great ambassador of the Anambra people, a great ambassador of the women folk, and of course, a great ambassador of Apga. So to immortalize her, the Apga government named the most important women's center in Anambra State for her. What the point I'm making in effect is that we keep on working for the common good of our people. There is a fundamental difference between Apga and the other major political parties. The fundamental difference is that the other parties are given to primordial sentiments. They are concerned with religious matters. Where do you come from? To them, it's all about identity. To us, it's a totally different ballgame. We are basically a developmental party. By developmental party, I mean
Mr.
we are
Sidon,
preoccupied.
Mr. Sidon, you're not addressing the issues I laid on the ground. I talked about the court case by the voter disqualifying the people and the case of insecurity and what IPOB is saying as regards to the election. I think those are the issues
No.
I want to react to. But we'll take a
please.
quick break and we'll come back and we'll talk some more. Thank you, sir. Okay, welcome back to the morning show. We still have Adinuba Sidon, as is popularly called, as a veteran newspaper columnist. So like I was saying, I said, yes, I know optimism is good, but let's deal with the issues. The issues like more court cases, and number two will be the insecurity situation, what IPOB is saying, and the fears in the state. You know, can you confirm to me that people will come out en masse to vote for your candidate, that the state is safe as we speak today, despite the fact that a lot is going on as regards security in the state, and the new court case by a voter that said your candidate and some other candidate should be disqualified?
Yes, I deliberately didn't want to talk about the court case because a matter that is in court, once a matter goes to court, we are disqualified from commenting on it in a public forum like this. That's why I did what we call Afghanistan. Now, having said that, we are not going to doubt that there is a security challenge in the states. We expect the IPOB leadership to change its position. 4 years ago, when Anambra people were about to have the governorship election, IPOB issued an order against having the election. But somewhere along the line, IPOB changed its stance. So we expect IPOB to change its stance this time. There are people negotiating with them. They may not be doing that in a public forum, but I think the negotiations are quite effective. One of them, I would like to mention his name, Dr. Chukwuemeka Ezife, former governor of Anambra State. So we're expecting a free and fair election. But beyond what we may call the non-kinetic approach, we can also adopt the kinetic approach. The Inspector General of Police is sending 34,000 policemen, led by a DIG and indigent of Anambra State. Soldiers and naval personnel are coming to join them. Even in my hometown of Ihiala, there will be quite a number of policemen, including a deputy commissioner of police down the line. In other words, the Anambra environment will be overwhelmed by the presence of security forces. And that will go a long way to inspire confidence in the people to come out to vote. But no matter what, Apga members will definitely come out in their numbers. And not just Apga members. There are 34 Soludo solidarity groups, 34 of them, mostly young men, committed, charged, energetic, and they believe passionately in the Soludo vision. They are what also psychologists call true believers. So we're expecting a huge turnout. If supporters of the PDP and APC don't come out, we know the reason. They have practically given up. That's why they have not been campaigning. Just a day or two ago, they resumed, but they have been very timid. You don't see crowds, practically no rallies. They are not announced. Just you see one or two people that make noise, and that's the end. No coverage by any media, including pro-PDP and pro-APC media. No coverage at all. Clearly, not by a rise. That shows they are not serious. They have practically given up.
Well, Sidon, I saw a piece you wrote attacking the APC, claiming that the APC is not even in this game at all. That's a position that you can confidently defend, because what we see in the public domain is that the APC indeed has a candidate. And it not only has a candidate, as has been reported in some papers, even the deputy governor, formerly on the Apga platform, has now moved to the APC. Many members of the Apga, your party, who are in the State House of Assembly, have also moved to the APC. I would like you to respond to that, particularly the defection of Okeke, the deputy governor. There. And then, of course, you quoted Dr.
Okeke.
Yes. You quoted Dr. Ezefi earlier on.
Yes.
Now, some of the papers...
yes.
Some of the papers reported 2 days ago that Dr. Ezefi says the people responsible for the violence in Anambra State are majorly non-Easterners. You also share that view. It's people from outside the East, the Eastern region, coming to Anambra to cause a crisis, and that is not IPOP.
Okay, 3 questions in one. Number one, Dr. Okeke, our deputy governor, is my personal friend. I grew up in his hometown. He and I did discuss before he defected. Dr. Kem is an academic. He is not a politician. And I can tell you for free that all of us will be pleasantly surprised if he wins his booth. Not ward, his booth. And I want to be quoted. He could win his booth if he had remained in Apga. But having left, it's extremely difficult. His cousins, his neighbors in his hometown in Enugu, even APC members, senior APC members in the state called him, don't come to our party. Our party is in a total mess in the state right now. I did say before, and I want to be quoted, APC has no candidate in this election. APC is not participating. What happened in Zamfara, what happened in Rivers to APC is bound to happen in Anambra State. Was there a primary election on Saturday, June 26th, when the APC claimed it had its own primary? You and I know the answer. Not one single journalist saw the electoral materials. Not even one member of the party, not even the senior minister from Anambra State, Dr. Chris Ngige, who actually brought APC to Anambra State, was allowed to vote. Nobody voted. And INEC in its report stated categorically there was no primary election. The State's Department of State Security, DSS, wrote officially no primary election. Why did APC lose Zamfara? The same thing, but that of Anambra is more pronounced, more serious than what happened in Zamfara and in Rivers. So everybody knows the APC has no candidates in this election, and that is the truth. It's a matter of time. George Muogalo, one of the founders of APC in Anambra State and the managing director of the National Inland Waterways Authority, has gone to court with the support of top people in the presidency who believe in justice to state there was no attempt whatsoever at having a primary election. The numerical strength of the APC in Anambra State is not up to 20,000. Yet, one person said he won 320,405 votes. I repeat, 320,405 votes to emerge the APC flag bearer, whereas the total number of APC people in Anambra State is not up to 20,000. In the 2019 general election, President Muhammadu Buhari scored the lowest number of votes in Anambra State. He got a miserable 5%. And in the same states where the APC has actually become more unpopular, someone alone awarded himself 320,405 votes. The whole thing is ridiculous. And not one minister. We have 2 ministers from Anambra State. None of them was allowed to vote. Not one person voted. The electoral materials were not even brought into the states. Where are the pictures of people who voted? We are today in the era of citizen or instant journalism. Let's have the videos. Let's have the photographs. Who were the electoral officers? Who were the returning officers? I told you in the case of Apga, it was showed live on television. Arise covered it live. We saw how people voted. We saw how results were collected and declared. So, I'm sorry, the APC is not in this election. About some other people who you spoke about defectors. Let me tell you something. On Saturday, October 15th, in Aguata local government area, there was a funeral. And one of the defectors from Apga, a member of the House of Assembly, attended the funeral. His people walked him out. We don't want to. Please, we voted for you as an Apga member, not APC. Please walk out from this funeral. And he was forced to leave. I feel very sorry for him. And not only that, I challenge any of the people who have jumped from Apga to APC to please go to his hometown or to his village. Let any of them march in the streets of Anambra State, as I am doing, and let's see if the people will not lynch them. Today, they have become persona non grata amongst their own people. Whatever I say here is verifiable. I mention names, I give you dates, I mention venues, and I would like you to verify, to establish the authenticity of my claims.
Well, regarding Nkem Okeke, I'm sure if he was such a non-entity, he would not have made it to the ticket that elected your principal. But I wanted to talk about APC. APC was on the list of 18 candidates, and with their candidate, Adinuba, released by INEC, no less. So they do have a candidate. INEC has decided that their primaries were above board, and they have been included. So I wanted to stress that. But are you in any way concerned, as a lot of people are, about the influx of security agents coming to Anambra State to ensure security? Yes, but there are also concerns about the lack of restraint that we've seen in the past where elections are concerned. What are your thoughts about that?
No, we have had 2 major elections in Anambra State in the last 4 years. And each of them was exceedingly peaceful. There was no problem whatsoever. Each of them is exceedingly peaceful. It's a pity that a particular individual entered the race and we're having this crisis. It's a repeat of what happened in 2003, 2004, up to 2007, when this individual wanted to be governor. We know what happened. Arson, in broad daylight, institutions of the government burnt in broad daylight. The House of Assembly is incinerated. Government lodge on nature, burned down. Anambra Broadcasting Service, burned down. The judicial complex, attacks. Government house, Oka, is incinerated. The person wanted a state of emergency so that he would become the sole administrator under Obasanjo. Now, the same person, his ally, the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, has now called for a state of emergency in Anambra State. You see where everything is going? Before this person entered the race, there was peace. Anambra was the most peaceful state in the whole federation. According to the police authorities, we never had any incident whatsoever. Ruben, you were here in Anambra State last year. Was it early this year? You and I drove to Agri Lake Hotel. When you asked for security, I was laughing at you. I said, security in Anambra? No. I'm a commissioner. I have never had any security detail. You thought I was kidding. You followed me to Agri Lake. We've had our program, came back. No incident whatsoever. In Anambra, for example, there has not been any case of kidnapping in over 1 year. Except about 2 weeks ago, the gubernatorial candidate of the Labour Party or something like that was reported kidnapped, and that's unusual. We are so proud of our record in security in Anambra State that we proudly tell everybody who casts to listen that Anambra is the only state in the whole federation that has not recorded one bank robbery since Obiano became governor 7.5 years ago. I repeat, the only state in Nigeria that has not recorded one single armed robbery in a bank in the last 7.5 years. So what is going on right now is politically motivated. We all know it, even when we play the ostrich.
All right. So
okay, right.
Okay. Oh, you still have the question. Okay. You said a lot of things, and let me call you out on them, sir. You said they've not recorded bank robbery in Anambra in the last 7 years. Check The Guardian on the 17th of April.
7.5 years.
Just hang on a minute. Check The Guardian on the 17th of April. All right? There was a talk, and the state commissioner was refuting the claim of a bank robbery. That's the state police commissioner. All right? There was also talk on the 25th of January 2021 that police nabbed 2 ex-convicts for robbery in Anambra State. So there have been robberies here and there. So for you to say that, a lot of people will say it's shocking. Let me also press you further. You also...
I'm sorry, you are wrong. I repeat, not one single bank robbery. I repeat, not one single bank robbery. That's what I said.
So let me also press you further.
All right, bank robbery, not one.
Let me also press you further on this. You went ahead to say that no media is covering the campaign of other parties in your state. That's wrong. I saw on Nigeria media the campaign of the APC and other candidates in your state. So other media are covering them. There's also an allegation here that your state government-owned media, on their news shows, 7 p.m. and 7 a.m. in the morning, I think Akuku White is called, that if we check in the last 3 months, you have not given audience to other political party in coverage. It has only been about the candidates, that is anointed by the state government. What do you say to all of these allegations that your people are stifling other voices in the state?
Okay, thank you very much.
And in your campaigns, just to add to this, in your campaigns, there was an incident where people were killed. Soldiers, had to retaliate and fight back. Some attackers. That was reported in the National Daily. So when you talk about this very safe Anambra, I am shocked at what you are saying. I don't even know what you're saying now, sir.
No, I'm sorry. I would like you to be a good listener. One, the incident you are referring to took place in my hometown, Ihiala, and I was present. I said for the past 7.5 years, Anambra has been the safest. What is going on now is politically motivated. I'm not denying that. And I'm the person who said one individual has been responsible. The person who was responsible from 2003 to 2007 is back in the race as he was that time, and obviously happening. So I'm not denying that. No. Number two, we'll just talk about stifling coverage of the opposition by the state media. That is not true. Last Sunday, the Anambra Broadcasting Service, on a program presented by my namesake, Don Onyenji, gave the APC and PDP 1 hour. Apga did not guess. I was the person required to join them. Unfortunately, I couldn't, because by that time, at 2 o'clock, I was on TVC Live, so I couldn't join them. The opposition parties had a field day for 1 hour, just last Sunday. That shows the allegation, I'm sorry, is not true about the coverage of opposition parties. When I say they are not getting covered, not the opposition parties, in their so-called campaigns, what I mean by the major media, I'm not referring to an individual using his or her telephone handsets to do a report and post it online. I mean, that's what they call journalism. What they call the paper referred to now, the media.
It was covered by
belongs
the
to that
major
category
media
of social media.
on a news. No, sir, please. This is not a new. It was covered by major media on a news show
Okay,
that I watched.
Question.
It is called Across the Nation program.
No, I'm sorry. Did Arise cover it? Let me start with Arise. I just told you that even when we had our own Congress, we also do one, Arise covered it live. Can the other parties make the same claim?
But Arise organized a debate program for other candidates too. Arise organized a debate program, anchored by amiable Dr. Ruben Abati here, for other candidates too in that state. So they've been getting representations too.
No. We are talking about their rallies being covered by the major media. Please, let's get the facts correct. It will help us a great deal. Everything I've said here, I've told you to go and verify. And I'm happy that the reports you are getting have not challenged any of my assertions. Let's go on. I'm ready. Apga is ready.
Well, Sidon, I hope when the battle has been lost and won, you'll still be in a position to justify your optimism. Because there are persons who indeed believe that Apga probably does not stand a chance. And there are people who also think that maybe the other political parties would challenge, Apga effectively at the polls. So this is the issue. Because I've been receiving text messages here. They say, oh, why is Sidon sounding like Tariq Aziz? What gives him this level of confidence that Apga will overrun other political parties?
Well, Ruben, 4 years ago, we said Apga was going to win. The naysayers said no, Apga was going to be defeated. At the end of the day, Apga won in all 21 local government areas, and each local government area by a wide margin. So history is about to repeat itself. This time, we are not looking forward to winning 21 out of 21 local government areas. We are looking forward to winning the 329 wards. I'll have a candidate who is going to do better than the present governor. That is what the present governor himself has said. I have got a candidate who will do better than I. Ruben, by the way, that on Saturday, which is about 3 days away, we are going to commission our airports, the only international airport to be built by state governments, and built in 15 months, and one of the best airports in Africa, and built without borrowing a kobo from any bank anywhere in the world. Ruben, in the next few months, we are going to commission the most modern stadium in Okeke. We built it without borrowing a kobo from anybody anywhere in the world, and without owing the contractor. In the next 2 months, we are going to commission the biggest international convention center in Africa with a seating capacity of 13,000, built without borrowing a kobo from any bank anywhere in the world. And here is a state that receives one of the lowest allocations from the Federation accounts in Nigeria. What we get is not up to 1/7 of what a state like Rivers gets every month. We are the first state in Nigeria to pay salaries and pensions. We pay before any other state in this country. And we have the lowest unemployment rate in Nigeria. Anambra's unemployment rate is 13.1%. The national average is 27.1%, according to the latest figures from the National Bureau of Statistics. In other words, if you double Anambra State's unemployment rate, it will still be lower than the national average. That's a record anywhere in the world. And I am particular about unemployment rate because for most economies in the world, the most important indicator of the performance of any economy is the employment rate. What the National Bureau of Statistics has said in effect is that the Anambra people have managed their economy better than any other people in Nigeria, including the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja. Ruben, I hope you've got the latest report on the fiscal responsibility index of each state of the Federation. Last year, Anambra and Rivers made it. Rivers with all the money from Shell, from the LNG, from the NDDC, and so on and so forth. Anambra doesn't have a cover of this. We made it last year with Rivers. This year, Ebonyi has joined us. So we have the best fiscal responsibility index in the whole country, together with Rivers and now Ebonyi, according to budgets funded by the Belinda and Bill Gates Foundation. We are very proud of our records. For a state that does not have an airport, that has no access to the sea, that does not have multinationals, doesn't have an LNG or an NDDC, to be doing all this, there is something good happening in Anambra State. Our record in education is unrivaled in the history of Nigeria. There is no state that is competing with us as far as education is concerned, from primary school to JAM. Last year, my own niece made the best result in the history of JAM. She's today at Duke University in North Carolina, the US. The person who came second is from Anambra State. This year, my neighbor's son made the best result in the history of JAM. And not only that, in federal government colleges, Anambra State, the best, and the young lady who made the best result is from Divine Wisdom Primary School, Newi. In the examination into what they call the School for the Gifted in Gwagwalada, there are 200 places given on merit. Out of the 200, Southeast got 70. Please, I'm not finished. Out of the 70 Southeast, Anambra State alone got 30.
Oh.
That's a brilliant record. In WASC, in NECO, in JAMB, we have posted the best, the highest number of students, and the best results, and the lowest.
Sit down. I hope you know that political campaigns come with an invoice. You are now using this platform to campaign. If you do political campaign, you get an invoice.
We are campaigning based on our record.
Anyway, thank you very much.
Please, on October 5th this year, well, if you allow me, whatever I say here, I've told you to verify.
Yes, and I'm sure the opposition...
We are running on our record, not on propaganda.
Well, we hope that the opposition will also fact-check some of the claims that you have made. But thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much indeed.